Alright guys, so we're back with another wackadoo sovereign citizen. Now, we all know that I have bones to pick with certain states for how they treat criminals within that state. This is going to be a great case of that. Don't get mad at me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. A subscriber did send this to me. This guy's got he's not just in phase, but he's got a few videos on his channel that we might do. Let me know in the comments if you want me to continue covering this guy or just drop him altogether.
Like the car.
You want me to hold on to this, or do you want this back?
If you want to, you can fill it out and give it to me.
I can't hear you, man.
I said you can sign it and fill it out since you're detaining me.
Do it later, then.
Well, I mean, if you're detaining me, you gotta do it.
Okay.
I mean, like I'm informing you too. Like just what you're informing me, I'm informing you.
Well, for my safety, I'm not gonna do it right here, right now. Then I can barely see through your face. So.
Well, do you have a reason to believe that I'm? Do you have a reason to see through my tent?
I can't hear you, man. There's so much traffic out here.
You have a reason to believe that like I'm a danger to you or something?
I didn't say that.
Has he shown himself to be violent or dangerous? Yes and no. No physically, yes, with the verbiage he's using. It's sovereign citizen nonsense. So right off the bat, the officer goes, oh, sovereign citizens. The first thing that pops to his head is probably, what is his name? The father and son, I believe. Jerry and Joe Kane. That case. Or the sovereign citizen that deployed smoke bombs and tried to run up into a courthouse and basically do a mass shooting. Or, I think his name was Chase Allen. Something Allen. The kid who decided it would be a great idea to pull a gun on a cop in, I want to say, Washington and got smoked for it. You didn't do anything wrong yet. But the words you're using is that of domestic terrorists. So yes, they're going to be a little more careful with you. Especially if you're only rolling down the window this much, saying, here, sign your life away on these papers that don't mean anything.
And what are you talking about your safety then?
I just can't see.
Well, how does that, what does that do with your safety?
I can't see what's on the other side. That's it.
You can't see what's on the other side of the wall. That doesn't make you like.
Yeah, so I don't know what's over there, so I don't go over there.
But you walk up to the car because you can't.
You're forced to try to stop it.
But it's your safety though. All right, like it says, I have case law. You guys like case law. The right of a citizen to travel upon a public highway and transport his property thereon by horse-drawn carriage, wagon, automobile is not mere privilege, which may be permitted or prohibited at will, but a common right, which he has under his right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Under this constitutional guarantee, one may therefore, under normal conditions, travel at his inclination among the public highway.
Are you reading that to me? Sorry, I can barely hear out here. We're in a big street, that's why.
I mean, I'm just reading it.
Oh, okay.
If you want to hear it, I mean, it's good to know. That way we don't waste both of our time because you're just wasting.
We all know what he's reading from. It's his guru packet where there's one sentence, one phrase, a few words taken from a Supreme Court case that may or may not exist. They're going to disregard the Supreme Court cases that say, oh yeah, 10th Amendment states can definitely require you to have a driver's license. They're going to kick that can down the road and pretend it doesn't exist.
You're just wasting. It's a waste of time, and like traffic stops shouldn't take this long. Especially if I'm not operating in business.
If you don't want to provide your driver's license, you want to just provide your name, date of birth, so I can just check it?
I'm not going to provide you with something that I'm not. I'm not going to provide you an entity that I'm not. I'm the man right here. You see me? I'm the man.
Sure.
That's me.
Okay.
That I can't identify as nothing else because I am me. I'm nothing else.
Okay.
So you want me to identify as something that I'm not, and I can't do that.
I just was asking for your name, date of birth.
Yeah, but that's fraud. That's basically fraud. Cause I'm telling you that that's
fraud.
Yeah, because you're saying that you want me to say that I'm that entity, which I'm not.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense to you?
No.
So if I give you my driver's license and you say, "Is this you?" How is that me? If I'm looking at you right now, how would that be me?
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
I would ask if the picture on that driver's license is you, if that's what you're referring to. That's what I would ask you.
But how are you doing business with me?
I'm not doing business.
Yes. How are you creating money out of thin air?
Not.
Yes, you are, because you're gonna give me a citation that's gonna go. I have to go pay something. So
So you could just
you're
put a
trying.
normal license plate on there.
You're trying to. This isn't. That is a normal license plate.
But it's a fix-it ticket.
That is that is my
in the
license.
state of California, as you.
But I'm not operating in commerce in this, like, and I don't live in the state of California.
It's like 2 more cars, man. What was that?
I'm not operating in commerce in California. I'm not in commercial business in California, and I don't live in the state of California. Like, that's like, I live in California.
Alright guys, so here's his original video. This is the problem sometimes with technology. It timestamped it. March 29th, 2023, Santa Monica, California. That's weird. That seems to be in California last I checked.
Which is way different than the
You
state.
live in California, but not in the state of California.
Yes, just like the father of Chris is not the same thing as Chris the father. Like, the same thing. Like, the father of Chris is not Chris the father, and that's my dad. So, like, the state of California is not California.
All right.
Yeah, my name's Chris. I don't mind telling you my name. My name's Chris.
Chris, hey man, look, I'm not trying to give you a hard time or anything, man. Like, I just.
No, I know.
I gotta enforce the rules of the road.
I'm not giving you a hard time either. I'm not trying to give. I'm just trying to I'm just enforcing my duty, my rights.
Okay.
Which I understand.
I
I've
totally
done
understand that.
I've done like the research into it. This is not my first time. Like, you could watch it on YouTube. Like, it's not really like this is normal. Like,
Is YouTube the greatest place to gather information and research? Yes and no. Depends on the creator you're watching, who made the video. If you run across somebody, if you type in right to travel, and you run across fucking Rebel Studio 2 sitting in his unfinished shack for year number 3, putting out, oh, you have the right to travel, but then somehow leave out Sinise first row, basically saying that what they're saying is factually and legally incorrect. Yeah, you can't trust those people. If they show you the guru packet, 50% of those cases don't actually exist, and the other 50% don't actually say what they're claiming it says. If you quote Kent v. Dulles, which was a passport case and a First Amendment case, and you say, yeah, see, it says you don't need a driver's license. Please, where? Where does it say that? Thompson v. Smith. Where does it say you don't need a driver's license? In fact, I'm pretty sure, seeing as how I've seen it, dozens, 2 dozen, 3 dozen times at this point, it actually says the exact opposite of that. It actually states that you can be required to have a driver's license by the state. Like, if any of that information pops up on your YouTube video, you can't trust that YouTube video for putting out factual information, because clearly they're not.
and I'm trying to do
Talk to
this.
my supervisor? He's
I
here.
mean, I just want to leave. I want to know if I can go. That's
I'm
it.
just asking because you requested a supervisor.
Well, if I'm gonna be here, if you're gonna make me stay here, then
Okay.
I just want to go.
Requesting a supervisor, so
Well, am I free to go?
do you need to talk to him?
Am I free to go?
I'm asking you a question.
Am I free to go?
Just give me a second. Let me talk to him, and then you.
Okay.
Hello. How are you?
I'm blessed.
Okay, what can I help you with, sir?
I just want to know if I'm free to go.
I can't hear you.
I just want to know if I'm free to go.
You're not free to go.
Okay. What am I being detained for?
What the officers explained to me is they stopped you for the license plate.
And I explained to them that I'm not. I don't wish to contract with them, and I don't wish to do business with them. And
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to speak up a little bit.
I told them that I don't want to contract with them, and I don't wish to do business with them, and I'm not giving up any of my rights.
Okay.
So at that sense that, like, I've not breaking any law, I've not committed any crime, so there's no reason for me to provide that information that he's asking for.
Well, they have a lawful reason to stop you, and you're required by law to provide your identification to them.
That's a code, though. That's a code. That's a traffic infraction. That's not really a crime. I'm operating in my private capacity. He's operating. You guys are public servants. So there should be no interaction, and there's no reason for him to think I'm operating in commerce because there's no connection to commerce on my vehicle. So
About 7 minutes into this video, and the only question I can muster is who let the Crayola taste tester out of the factory this morning? Nothing he's saying is making sense. He's again misquoting Black's Law Dictionary 2nd edition. From the Justin Faze video, we know that was published in 1910. And even then, 110-ish years ago, it debunked them then. But because, again, they're cherry-picking one thing, but not looking any further, they make themselves sound like idiots. So this whole commerce thing, kick it right out the window. They're misquoting Black's Law Dictionary, 2nd edition. And if the Supreme Court has ruled the state can legally require you to have a driver's license, and they have a code, law, statute that says, yep, you have to have a driver's license. Well, there's that. If you go look up statute, code, it all means law, bud.
My thing is, there's no reason for this stop. If that's what he stopped me for, there's no reason for the stop, because there's no reason to assume that I'm operating in
as
that
a
capacity.
supervisor walking into this, and what the officers explained to me and what I've observed, they do have a lawful reason to stop you and detain you for this, and you are required by law to provide identification. Now, if you disagree with that, that's fine, that's on you. Unfortunately, if you choose to not provide the information, they're going to be forced to take you to a magistrate, which means you'll be placed under arrest and charged with those 2 violations. The other option is...
That's fine. I think...
And just let me finish one second.
I went through this. I've already been through this. I'm going to give you guys...
The other option is they end up identifying you, who you are, okay? They write you a citation basically saying, hey, we observed this, it appeared to be a violation of law, and then you're given the opportunity to go before a magistrate and explain your side of the story, and ultimately the magistrate makes the decision. Our job is simply to enforce the laws as we see, and then a judge is the one that makes the decision in terms of culpability, violations, and things like that. But
Yeah,
you are required to provide them with information.
So it's my duty to enforce my rights, to know my rights and enforce them. At the end of the day, if you guys want to enforce your codes to violate my rights and commit a criminal act at that, by breaking my window and doing whatever you got to do to get me out, then that's... And you guys want to lose your qualified immunity for on that process, I'm okay with that. I'm willing to sit here and be in my truth.
No qualified immunity was lost that day, nor any time some of these people just say it. That's the new edgy thing for these people. Well, you lost your qualified immunity. I made some nonsensical argument using pseudo law, but because I did that, yep, you lost your qualified immunity. It's like, in the years I've been doing videos and watching videos, I have never seen an officer who legally pulled someone over and said, hey, can I get your license? No. Okay, well, we're going to break your window and pull you out. Yep, you lost your qualified immunity. You're going to get fired. I've never seen them get fired. Not once have I seen a legal traffic stop that ended in a window break end in someone's losing their career because a sovereign citizen said so.
And at the end of the day, I understand the process that goes with, and by all means, like I'm willing to go to the 9th District courthouse and take it all there if I have to. We don't have to do that.
Sir,
I just want to know if I'm free to go. That's it.
You can certainly do that. You're not free to go.
Okay.
So you have kind of 2 options here. You can provide the officers with your identification, allow them to make their decision in terms of enforcement action.
So what are you arresting me for? If you take me out, what are you arresting me for?
Ultimately, you're going to be placed under arrest for failing to refuse to sign a ticket. So by signing a citation, and the officers need to identify you.
So that's
okay?
That's
hang on.
That's
let
what
me,
I'm
let me. You asked me a question.
I haven't even got a ticket. How are you?
You're not letting me finish, sir. Okay. The officers observe a violation. A ticket is basically saying, I observed this violation, and you signing the ticket would say, hey, I'm agreeing to either take care of the ticket or see a magistrate for them to make a decision regarding the violation. If you don't sign the ticket, there's no promise that you're going to appear or answer for the citation, and then our hands are kind of forced. Okay. Ultimately, the last thing that we want to do.
But by definition, so if you're gonna write out the definitions on the ticket of what you, so we have the same, we have the same understanding, I guess, or not understanding. I guess you would say comprehension of what's being discussed on there, like appear and what definitions that you're using. That way, because there's no, you want me to sign a contract basically saying, and that's a contract. Anything with my signature is a contract. So you want me to sign a contract saying I'll appear, and you don't know. First of all, I can't appear anywhere because I'm not an entity to appear. I can't, just like I can't disappear.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you're asking me to do things. Yeah, but you're forcing me to. You're trying to force me to fraud, to do fraud basically, and sign something for something that I'm not. So at the end of the day, like you want me to do something that I morally cannot do because that's not me, and I don't wish to contract with you. If you guys are gonna force me to do business with you, basically.
Well, let me try to explain it to you this way from the officer's perspective. They have no idea who you are.
And they're not supposed. They have.
Let me.
At a human
sir,
perspective.
I need you to let me finish so I can explain to you.
But that makes no
and
sense.
I've been listening to you and trying not to interrupt, but every time I'm talking, you're kind of talking over me. So you ask me a question, I'm trying to provide you with the answer. Okay? The officers observed a violation. They have no idea who you are because you're refusing to provide identification. Could be a wanted felon, could have a bunch of other things. Ultimately, they're doing the job that they are supposed to be doing. Their job is to identify you, make a decision on the enforcement action, and they could decide to give you an advisement. They could decide to write you a citation, or, you know, if you have an outstanding warrant or something like that, you could end up being placed in custody for it. So that's what, and all of this is stopped by you refusing to provide information to them, which you're required to do.
I also could be, but like just like you said, I could have an outstanding warrant. I also could be an outstanding citizen.
You see this whole thing with frauditors normally, and now it's starting to bleed into sovereign citizens. Normally it's the other way around. This whole, oh, because I record myself breaking the law, that makes me a good citizen. No, that is not the case.
Or what, not a citizen, an outstanding human being, I guess you could say. I could work for the, you don't really know what I could be. So at the same time as you're trying to weigh it out on what, it's always like, you don't create a criminal, you find a criminal in the act. What you're telling me is you're trying to create a criminal by me not allowing to have my right to privacy, which is my God-given right, and to be private in my papers. And even if I were to provide you my name and my information, that's something that's violating my rights again, because that's giving you something that you could use against me in court, which I have the right to not self-incriminate me, I guess you could say. So in that sense, like none of it makes sense to me. Like what you're asking for, I cannot give to you, because I don't wish to do business with you, and I don't want to cross that sand of going into commerce with you or going into business with you when I'm okay. I drive down the street plenty of times. I'm sure everybody sees me at night. My car lights up. I've done this plenty of times. I'm not worried in that sense. I will go and whatever you do, like I'm not gonna sit here and fight with you. I'm just gonna I'm gonna stay firm in my square and what I believe now, and respectfully, you know what I mean? Like in honor. I'm gonna stay in honor.
He's gonna stay in honor. I've actually only heard that said that way one or two other times, and it was a sovereign citizen in court. And then he's going to say, well, I'm not going to fight you, while he's passively resisting for the last 15 minutes. This video was 30 minutes long. At this point, we're now going to start skipping around and wait till the supervisor to get here, so we can all be disappointed by the state of California.
That is also going to involve us taking custody of your dog and your vehicle and a bunch of other things. You have an opportunity here to identify yourself, let the officer work through their course of investigation, make a decision as to the enforcement action, and then, if you disagree with how things are working out, that's what the judicial process is for.
Yeah,
Speaking to a magistrate and all those things. Ultimately, if you refuse to do that, it's going to inconvenience you in terms of your vehicle will more than likely have to be impounded. Your dog is going to have to be taken care of.
How are you taking stuff that doesn't belong to you, or like how are you stealing everything? Like how are you stealing?
Oh, we're not stealing it. We're taking it into protective custody, because you're going to be placed in custody and taken to see a magistrate, and someone has to provide safeguards for your animal and the vehicle as well. Okay.
But it's parked right here. That's perfect. That's why I parked it right here. That way I didn't pull over, because I already know the way that the whole process is. I always take my car and park it where it's safe, because of that same where it's not blocking traffic. The
choice is yours, sir. Okay.
So this is where it kind of gets fishy for me. Red flags kind of went up in my head. So he only has this video and another video on his page, but he's talking all this shit right here. Oh, I intentionally pulled it over, more than likely in a parking lot that doesn't belong to him, and they can still tow from, which is a strange tactic. Yeah, I pulled over. It's not blocking traffic, blah, blah, blah. It's safe here, blah, blah, blah. I know how it goes. So you've only got two videos, and neither video shows your car getting towed. So what experience do you have with this? Is that possibly why you went down this rabbit hole? Because you've messed up so many times, like normal sovereign citizens do, that you kind of went on Google and said, oh, can I drive without a license or registration or insurance? And Mark Stevens came up, or Broken System, Broken Trust, or Rebel Studio 2. One of these people who showed up, and you're like, oh, this guy's a genius. And look into him a little more, you'll realize that they are the opposite.
And if you refuse, I appreciate the fact that you're saying you're not going to be violent or resistive. I mean, that makes me happy. I know you're recording me. I can see your phone. We have 4 cameras on you along with the vehicle, and all this contact.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
For a magistrate to make a decision on the matter.
I'm not worried about that.
So,
like, I mean, I'm not in your jurisdiction, and you're not gonna force me in your jurisdiction.
You're in the city of Santa Monica in the state of California, and those are within our jurisdiction, sir.
I'm in Santa Monica in California. I'm not in any of the ofs. So, like, at the end of the day, like, if you want to place me under, like, I'm holding my status as a United States of America Republic as a.
The last thing that we wanted
Just to point out that awkward jump cut, that was him, not me.
to do is to violate any rights that are afforded to, the people within the territories of the United States. However, these officers are trying to take an enforcement action, okay?
Yeah, but they don't have the right to do that. Like, they
do.
They don't have the right to do that. They don't. Look, I have the whole code right here. I can go through it right here. Fucking, I've done this plenty of times.
Do you have any sort of identification to offer us?
No, I usually don't need it. I don't go around committing crimes or anything, so I usually don't really need to identify myself besides of who I am, and I know who I am. And
insert lead paint chip joke here. I don't think he knows who he is. I don't think he knows where he is. Everyone always says, oh, they don't need competency evaluations. Oh no, I disagree. I think they all, at this point, need competency evaluations. This dude clearly isn't smart enough to be driving a vehicle.
I mean, I don't know. You guys can do whatever you guys have to do. I'm not changing my stance and what I believe in.
So are you refusing to provide identification at this point?
I'm not refusing to do anything. I'm not refusing to do it. I'm standing in my rights. I'm not refusing anything.
Have you provided the officers with your name?
I told them, my name's Chris.
You have your name, Chris? Okay. And what's your last name, Chris?
I don't have a last name. I just go by Chris.
You don't have a last name?
That's a last name is not really like a last name is created by basically it's an entity created. Like you're not given a last name. You're just given a birth name.
Common sense tells you if you're required to give someone your driver's license, and you say, "Nah, my name's Chris," though, yes, you're refusing to give your ID. And then the whole, well, my last name's made up. Well, clearly at some point you had a driver's license with your first and last name on it. What would that have said?
Well, Chris, this conversation isn't going anywhere, and I'm trying to afford you all the hospitality that I can to try to more or less close this encounter and let the officers do what they need to do and also identify you to make a decision on the enforcement action. But you're precluding all that by not providing the information.
So you're going to arrest me on failure to identify?
Yes.
That's a secondary offense.
Yes.
So what's the primary offense?
You were stopped for the license plate, which doesn't conform to California standards, as well as the covering on the license plate.
That's a code, though.
And I'd assume the tint on your windows.
That's a code, though. Those are codes. Those are code violations. So, what's the primary crime? What's the crime that you're?
This isn't the time to argue that.
Well, it is because you're trying to arrest me. You're trying to arrest me. So that's a valuable.
That would be with a magistrate, sir, and not out here.
This guy's unbelievably frustrating. I'm going to skip to the end because this guy's still trying to fight on the side of the road, where everyone knows. If you're going to fight it in court. That's where it matters. And again, be prepared to be angry at the state of California.
Sir, will you step out of the vehicle, please?
Why?
Will you step out of the vehicle?
Why would you like me to step out?
We're going to take you into custody for refusing to sign a citation and asking to seek.
You haven't given me a citation. You haven't given me a citation. How can I refuse a citation that you haven't given me?
The officers can't because you're not providing them with information, sir.
So how can you charge me for something that you haven't even made?
The last thing that we want to do is damage your vehicle, but ultimately we're going to have to make access to it and take custody.
I mean, you're going to pay for it, so at the end of the day, you're going to pay for it.
So his grand plan, his answer to getting a ticket is, I'm not going to give you my ID, therefore you can't write a ticket. That's not how it's going to work. And if they broke your window, you would be paying for that, because God knows you don't have insurance. Yeah, the police aren't paying for it either.
I'm going to document this, okay? I'm going to document this encounter. I'm sure I can, probably stream this online, I'm assuming.
Not really. I don't like to. Like, I'll be honest. I don't do this for clout, for anything like that. Like, I do it for my personal thing.
You have been on your way a while back with the site, but just so you know, okay, so something comes of this in the future, you get pulled over, and now there's a paper trail of you of this. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Just so
no.
you understand that.
Honestly, I know my car is identified. Like I've. This is not the, like I said, it's not the first time. Like my car is.
Have you been arrested before?
My car is, huh?
Have you been arrested before for this?
Have I been arrested for this? No. They like
So
I've had
deal.
this.
This is the reason why you're going is, number one, our radio's blowing up right now. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on. Okay.
No, I get
want
it.
you to know that you're this close to being placed under arrest and then going. But there's people here that we need to respond. We can't. Like, dude, you would have been out of here 30 minutes ago. You know.
Yeah, but then I'll spend 2 hours in court. Am I free to go?
What's that?
Am I free to go?
Yeah, you're good to go.
This is where the booze come in. This is where the fruit and vegetable starts getting thrown. Yes, they probably had a ton of calls. They couldn't waste the manpower to pull this guy out of the car. I get that. Plus, he comes with a lot of baggage. You have to pull the dog out, hope the dog doesn't bite anyone. And then you have to find somewhere to put the dog while this guy is figuring his shit out. I get that it takes a lot of time. I get that it's low priority. But stops like this are why sovereign citizens think that what they're doing is okay because they get away with it in stops like this, where the officers have other shit to do. So they just say, all right, man, we're going to keep track of you. Go away. Like, it made me angry watching it, but I wanted to show exactly the stop that, I don't know, gives this guy the power to think that he can keep doing this. Like, if officers just nipped it in the bud right now, it would never happen again. He quit. This was videos from 11 months ago. This was his last sovereign citizen video. There's one more before this, like I said. So maybe he got and quit and never put out the video. Apparently, he's been in situations like this a ton, and there's only 2 videos. So apparently he doesn't like showing some videos. Anywho, don't go and harass this guy. I'll give you the name of the channel, though, so you guys can go check him out. It's called Soul It Is, all caps, 686 subscribers. Again, don't go and harass this guy. Looks like he's on his last leg already. But yeah, have a good rest of your day. Peace.